Hey there, it's Randy from ProfessionalGrillShop.com. Today we are sampling the Sacred Cow line of meats from Mojo Hand Farms. We're going to start with the ribs, a fatty, tender, and complex cut of meat when cooked just right. We smoke these ribs for over 9 hours over red oak for a sweet, medium smoky finish that doesn't overpower the flavor of this perfect holy beef, 65 amp Soho. Now let's try it with more sauce for an extra tangy flavor. That's the Sacred Cow from Mojo Hand Farms. Look for it here on ProfessionalGrillShop.com.
It's a clone, right?
Well, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically what we're looking at here is a clone from Mojo Hand Effects.
And of course, you know, the name Sacred Cow is playing on the idea that the clone is this super incredible pedal, and
the originals go for thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars, and it's the sacred cow pedal, and people have gotten sued over using them or making them or whatever, and now there's with EHX releasing the Soul Food, it's just become a free for all on the clone market.
Right.
And so this is just kind of poking fun at all of that with saying like, oh, here's your sacred cow. Like, look, it's just a pedal.
I really enjoy that Mojo Hand has that kind of lightheartedness towards this.
Yeah.
They're not taking it over the top seriously. They're not trying to do a graphic treatment that is like, oh, here's your Klon, but it's not, it's ours. This is like, here's the Klon style pedal, but we understand that there's already a bunch of them out, so we're doing our own kind of treatment with it. And the look is still there. There's still the gold case, and there's still the knobs that are pretty specific to Klons. They get used on other pedals.
It's also funny too because pretty much all of the other, not all of the other clones, but the ones that are like obviously clones, they use some riff on like a centaur, whether it's some kind of like half man, half horse, half man, half goat, half man, half other,
like the Pony Boy,
just different kinds of like centaur-ish references,
or like the centaur picture on the Klon. It's like shooting a bow and arrow, right? And then you have the archer from J Rocket. This is just a cow.
Yeah, this is the old school cuts of meat cow poster.
I really like the graphic style on this. Mojo Hand has always done really great graphics on their pedals. I really like how simplistic this one is, and then you just get the little hand graphic in the lower corner.
And you know what they say, if you can't play good, at least look good.
Yeah, totally. So we're going to take a pause break so we can get everything powered up here, and then we'll do a little playthrough of this thing.
Woohoo!
All right, so we're set up with the Princeton Reverb with an SM57 and an SM58 miking it. I've got my my Strat here with the McNelly pickups. I got it right this time, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay.
Unlike last week.
I know. With the McNelly pickups, I've got it on the bridge right now. I've got everything set to noon on the Sacred Cow. This has the fat and lean switch on this. I really doubt that sound difference is going to come through after the bit rate that we do on the podcast.
Right.
So I'm not even going to show that off. I'm going to leave it. Excuse me. I'm going to leave it set to fatty, which is, the difference is very subtle, but I think it's one of those things that's very useful if you're switching from humbucker to single coil, or if you're like, I just need a little extra something there or not there.
It's the kind of thing that I think it would be really noticeable in like a big live room.
Sure.
It's the kind of thing if you're doing like a some isolated guitar track recording, it would really make a big difference. But just
it's more
the way that our episodes get compressed, it's probably not going to come through. It's pretty subtle, but not in a way where it's like, it's not doing anything.
It's definitely doing something.
It's just maybe not something that we're going to be able to pick up. That's going to be, well, I mean, the mics are going to pick it up. It just might not be there after all of our compression and everything.
Exactly. It's really one of those frequency changes that you feel more than you hear.
Right.
Is what I'm going to say about it. So I'm just going to leave it set to fatty. I will just go through kind of the range of the settings here. Yeah. Here it is, everything at noon. Oh, let me do a clean signal first. So that's the bridge pickup. Here it is with everything at noon on the Sacred Cow.
That's a guitar.
That's a guitar, and it sounds like a Klon to me.
Yeah.
It's got its own special little flavor. I think it's a little bit. I think I'm going to describe this the way people would critique like wine.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's got kind of like a woody aftertaste. It's got a little bit more of a bark to it. a little bit more of a dry feel, you know?
I feel like it's got a little more of a pronounced mid-range.
Okay.
That I typically hear from some of the other Klon style pedals that we've tried.
I mean, so far we've tried the KTR, we've tried the Pony Boy, we've tried the Soul Food that was JHS modded.
Right.
Is that it?
I guess so.
Yeah, and to be totally honest, all those pedals sound great. They all do it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And this does it a little bit differently too. And as a consumer, you just have to ask yourself which one does it differently in the way that you want.
Exactly. And, it's the same. Well, yeah, there's a lot of analogies that could be made, but I think you guys get it.
Yeah. And you could totally try them all. You know, buy them all and flip them all or sell them all.
Or just pretend you're a Pokemon master of Klon pedals and you got to catch them all.
Yeah, but I think I'm excited to have this thing around. You have the KTR that you're trying to sell. The other pedals that we have demoed, we've either borrowed or we've had to return them. This because we're doing the video demo. I get to keep this around, so this is going to be my go-to Klon to use when we need a Klon.
Yeah.
For demos and stuff. And I'm totally excited because I think it sounds great. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it sounds like a Klon. It just does its own thing. Let's mess with some of the ranges on here. Obviously, at noon, it gave us a little bit of a volume boost here. That's with the gain almost all the way down. So it kind of just gives you a little bit of a volume bump there.
Yeah.
Let's try it with a gain at let's say that's 25%. Okay. So a little bit more grit, a little bit more sustain, a little bit of that sizzle in there. I'll take it all the way up to 50. Definitely more sizzle on that.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot more of that drive there. And usually people don't use Klons much beyond that.
Sure.
It's a light drive. People use it to push their amp into more sustain, into more dirt, or they use it to stack it with other light drives for a higher gain sound. So let's take this up to 75% now and see what it sounds like. And the tone is still at noon. This is around the territory that I actually like Klons when I've used them.
Right.
It's this territory where you start to get pinch harmonics, even though it's not a lot of gain, but it's a tight, sizzling gain. Mm-hmm. You get those easy pinch harmonics with a sound that most people think of as kind of a clean guitar sound.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, and we've said this before when we did the Soul Food versus KTR episode. The whole Klon sound, to my ears is just that amp on the edge of breakup.
Yeah.
But in a box, so you can get that without having to crank your amp.
Yeah, totally. It's a very, people call it a transparent overdrive, this style.
Some people do.
Some people do.
Some people get really mad when you call it a transparent
overdrive. It definitely does give you an EQ flavor.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a mid hump. There's other things going on. It's a flavor. This thing gives you a bit of a flavor. It colors your sound is another buzzword.
I don't think it's as strong as some other drive pedals, but it's definitely there. And I think because it's not as strong, or because it's not as classically mid bumped as a Tube Screamer, then people are automatically well, if it's not a Tube Screamer, then it must be transparent.
Yeah. Well, I think I think the reality of clones, and part of the reason why they're so popular, they're kind of, last episode we covered all those genre pedals.
Right.
Which many of them are over the top.
Sure.
They represent where a lot of us were when we were teenagers, when, guitar pedals were still relatively, new.
Right.
In their concepts.
And, you're 14, 15, 16 years old, and you're playing through
the concepts,
15-watt 8-inch speaker, so you got to
you're trying
get
to
something crazy.
You're trying to sound as extreme as you can, and so much gets lost as soon as you are in the mix with other musicians. The advent of clones coming into popularity shows where people have come as far as what they're listening for and what they expect out of their gear.
Right.
As far as, this is a pedal where at home you're going to be like, what is it really doing? It's a little bit of a boost, and it's a little bit of a mid boost, and a little bit of a fizzy grit. It's the kind of pedal that makes all the difference in a live scenario. Like, this is your jump out of the mix box.
Sure.
That's really what these things do. I know there's a lot of hype around clones and clones and whatnot. I know the originals go for a lot of money, and that's part of where maybe some people might have distaste for the concept. I used to, trash talk on, the concept a lot. And then I started using them, and I could totally see where the use is for these. It makes you sound the way people expect an electric guitar to sound, basically.
Right.
It's a sound better box, which is what the guys over at GAK said, months ago when I was listening to them. So let's hear it at even higher gain. I'm going to take it all the way up. You know what? This knob, it goes much farther than I thought it would go. It goes past what I thought was going to be 100%, up to 120%. So let's try it all the way up.
So are you saying that it goes to 11?
I think it goes to 13 or 14.
Why not just make 10 louder?
I know, right? So let's see what this sounds like with the gain dimed all the way. I think it sounds great at a higher gain level.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
I think that's an awesome sound. A lot of people have always said, clones are not really good as used as an overdrive. You're supposed to use them as a pre-gain boost.
Right.
I think that sounds awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think this is a great sounding clone when it comes to the higher gain settings on it. I didn't think the KTR, when that was here.
The KTR starts to flub out a bit when you turn the drive all the way up.
Yeah, I didn't think it was great with the drive higher. The Soul Food, I don't remember. The Pony Boy was good. But I think this one really handles the higher gain settings very well. I really like the EQ kind of territory that this one lives in. Like I said, I'm really excited to keep this one around. Let's put it at a normal setting and experiment with the tone knob a little bit. I'm not going to experiment with the volume knob because we're miking this, and all I'm going to do is overdrive the mics at some point or turn it down to where it's quiet. So who cares, right?
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. And also, my baby just came in, and he's sleeping, and I don't want to wake him, even though I'm risking that.
Yeah, even though the neighbors just called the cops.
With every note I play, I'm risking my 1-year-old baby waking up.
You're risking your wife murdering you tonight in your sleep.
My wife will choke me out with a pillow tonight if that happens. So let's go through the tone stack here, and then I'll call it quits on this for right now. But you'll see more variation in the video, obviously, which played before the sound clip if you're watching the video. All right, here we go. Here it is with the tone at noon. Bridge pickup on the Strat, which is a humbucker by McNelly. That was awful. Not playing. Okay, I'm going to take the tone all the way rolled back. So pretty dark.
Uh-huh.
Let's take it all the way bright. really bright.
Yeah.
And that's pretty normal for
Yeah,
Klons.
this type of pedal, you don't really have a tone knob as much as you have like a treble boost
Sure.
knob. In fact, I think on the KTR it is labeled, and on the Centaur as a treble knob.
Oh, okay.
Not actually as a tone knob.
Yeah, I think it sounds great right at noon, but then it's the sort of thing where, you dial that in with a live sound.
Yeah, you're going to adjust how much brightness you want out of this pedal based on, whatever inherent brightness you have.
Yeah, you're
from
going to
your
do
pickups.
it. You're going to do what it takes to jump out of the mix. Let's hear it with the tone at noon and the gain at noon on the neck pickup real quick. Yeah, I think that's great. I have no problems with this pedal. I think it looks good. It's a good pedal if you want to have a Klon on your board without people immediately thinking you have a Klon on a board.
Right.
Because it's got this really cool graphic of the cow. People are going to be like, oh, what is that? Kind of has a Klon thing, but I'm not sure because it's a picture of a mythological creature.
Right.
Or someone shooting an arrow or something, So yeah, totally look out for this pedal. I think it's great. I'm going to be using it as my go-to Klon pedal when we do demos and we need that sound. Because why not? This thing sounds awesome and it looks great. Totally stoked to have this on my board.